All right, this is Don. Idle Tools, GunMuse. I'm going to put this at the beginning of this film. You're going to see a wardrobe change here shortly. Because I spent about a day going over the TeamRedMiner and trying to decouple the conflict between HiveOS and the mining software, and there is conflicts. Okay, so you're seeing a very nice Polaris result here. I'm up to 221. You're going to see later where I'm at 208s. And I'm at really stellar ton deals. Check down in the comments below. I will have my little config for HiveOS. And check this video and the other video below. You've got to go in there and wipe out all the miners and do a force upgrade. And then wipe out all your overclock settings. Do a forced upgrade again, and then come back in and bring your settings back in one by one. Okay, start with stock and then detune down. You're also going to see the 590 at 80 degrees in the rest of this film, and you see right now it's at 48. I told you about MX4. My tube is empty. I dropped 30 degrees on my GPU temp, but not by going after the memory chips or the GPU directly. Sorry, my cough's actually gotten worse since I did the first film. There is a connection point between the copper tubes and the fins, and I'll make a separate film for this one the next time I take one of these cards apart. But as you see, I got 3 of them that are still red. I ran out of grease, okay? Because as I was taking the card apart, I realized the manufacturing process of the 580. They ran this copper tube through these aluminum fins. They're not welded to the fins. It's incidental contact. And in the link in the description below, I've got the link to a bigger tube of this than what I bought, because this was my trial tube. I'm going to order one of the great big... See, I got version 2 here, and now I'm up to version 4. And version 4, mwah! It was wonderful. Okay, but I made the grease. I squirted it down around the copper tube just to the fins. Not every fin, just on the ends where the tube come out and went back in. Okay, this tied the fins directly heat-wise to the copper tubing, which is what connects to the memory chips and the GPU. This transferred the heat better to the fins, and you can see the result, or you will when you watch the rest of this film. All right, let me cut this in, because that film was already like an hour and something long, and I got to process it and everything else. If you guys don't know, I go through the problems that we all face, and I just kind of keep you company while I'm going through the problems. You're facing a problem. That's usually why you find a video like this, is you've Googled it up, you YouTubed it up. I work on it until I find a solution, okay? And being YouTube being what it is, sometimes I send you to another one of my films for the solution, just because that helps me on YouTube. But do like and subscribe. I appreciate it. Thank you. All right, this is Don with idletools.com, and we are going to be talking about the Polaris. You know what? Look at there. We're going to be talking about the Polaris RX580 specifically on the Polaris. Covers a lot of graphics cards from the 400s. I even got a 590 in the rig that we're doing the testing on here. And the new TeamRedMiner mining software 0.9.3, which is, according to HiveOS, not supported at the moment. And if you guys got comments or questions about what I've done here, because I'm going to go a little more depth into the TeamRedMiner settings than what normally a person would do, because it's important on these Polaris cards. These things are work trucks. I watched the other YouTubers, and TeamRedMiner just turned around and put out a video about he's taking all his 580s and just going to give them away because they're worthless to him. A card making $2 a day making $2 a day over electricity is not worthless to me. Now, he has a power issue, so he's at a different point in his farm in where I am, and I'm hoping most of my audience is, and that is we're growing our farms. So 580s are very low cost to entry. I just picked up 2 of them last night on eBay. After TeamRedMiner turned around and said, I'm getting rid of my 580s, they're not cost effective, they dropped down to, I picked 2 of them up, one for $230, one for $250. That's getting cheap. At $2 a day right now, we're talking 120, 130 day ROIs on these things. I'll wear the worth out of them. Okay. After the first 120, 150 days, it's all gravy, and I'll be looking when I get to the point where I can't get enough power out of the wall, and I've got to look at much more expensive hardware to cover my power cost. I'll do that, but I'm not there yet. So this is a cost to entry issue. It's not me poo-pooing what he's doing. He's doing what he needs to do. Okay. It's his problem. His problem is power. My problem is not power yet. Okay. Our power here with the dual mining, making these things much more cost effective, is efficiency. And what's going on here is my Samsung DeX fell asleep. Click to return. Okay. So I tried to send a screenshot up into Son of Text thing. I was watching this video last night. It says, I got one 580 for testing. Well, I got a rack of them. I got varied memories. I've got various styles, various brands, and they all act differently. The Hynix and the Samsung and the Micron memories all react differently, but when you have a Micron memory 580, it acts like another Micron memory 580. When you have a Hynix memory 580, it acts like another Hynix memory 580. And the 4 gigs and the 8 gigs act a little bit differently. What's weird is the 4 gig Hynixes, the Sapphires, are outstanding at mining ton. I've got one rig with those on there. I'll show you in just a minute. So we're going to do a couple things here because I got into the TeamRedMiner ton thing and just upset some egos in there, asking technical questions, preparing for this. Okay. And I got the just crowd. I'm going to make fun of the just crowd because over on the other GunMuse gaming channel, I make fun of the just crowd all the time. I got 1 million people a month come in there, and it never fails that I got someone that comes in there and says, well, just do this. Why? They don't know why. They read it in a forum. They watch it on another YouTube channel. They don't know the why behind it. When you subscribe to this channel, I hope I tell you the why. If I don't get it into the video, ask me. I read my comments. I go through and push the trolls out of my comment sections, and I'll tell the why. So you see a picture of Son of Tech up in there. That's because I was watching him on my phone, and I swiped and did a screenshot. Where I was running right here. I don't know if I can blow this up or not. I'm certain I could if I was actually on. This is Dex on my phone, and I just didn't transfer the picture over the picture. Okay, so I was running 700s on the close to 700s with a low of 681. It looks like, and then running 29s. I even had some 30s after a while. With a low of 25, which that card always runs low on ETH. I got a card that just sucks ass on ETH. I got the other, and I got another one that sucks ass on ETH. That's the 23 and the 25s. That's the cards. They've never done this. So this is not a dual mining issue. So I was getting 25 on ETH with that card before I started dual mining. Now I'm getting 25 on ETH and 700 mega hash on ton. That's free money. This is one of the things where I got, I talk about the just crowd in the that was over in the Discord over at TeamRedMiner. One guy's like, well, I've got 40 gigahash of ton, and the fees on ton are so high that I hold it for a month and can't get my money back. No, the ETH fees are so damn high transferring the ton that you can't get your damn money back. I'll tell you my strategy on mining the ton is I'm not selling any of it until ETH 2.0 comes out. Once ETH 2.0 comes out, the ETH fees should plummet. Okay? In theory. I don't know shit. I don't know that any more than anybody else does. I know that if you go to Twitter and read something, you know less than everybody else does because you're believing what they said on Twitter. Twitter is a marketing campaign. It is literally plugged into every piece of marketing software that I own, and I've owned lots of marketing software. Twitter is a core central thing. Make up bullshit, click send marketing software. And if you're going to Twitter to provide your news, I don't like Coinbase news. If you don't have a fundamental understanding of the politics in other countries, then you don't understand Coinbase is full of shit. You just read what they say and you believe them. They don't seem to understand fundamental politics in other countries. They don't know Putin has been trying since the 90s to eliminate the US dollar as the world reserve currency. They don't know that. And then every piece of mining software we're using is written by a Russian. Coincidence? Not if you ask Twitter, right? They're just there for your benefit. It's not a Ponzi scheme. You've got, there's nothing wrong with the blockchain if the blockchain is you using your brain and you being safe with your stuff. And I'm going to get into that too, because I watched a bunch of people start scratching out their wallet addresses. I'm not going to do that. When I give you the codes for making your Polaris cards run better, I'm going to show you right there my wallet address. If you hack my Ton wallet because you got my receive wallet address, there's a problem with Ton. Thank you for pointing out the problem with Ton. Right? But I got more than one wallet address. And so if you find this to be useful, that I'm making you an extra money, put my little config in your HiveOS there for 1 day, and that's the tip. You make me 50 cents, $1. But it's tax-free because it goes straight to my wallet. I don't have to worry about paying the 5-ton transfer until I'm ready to move it out. All right? It's a way of rewarding me. Google is about to put tipping in cryptocurrency. And since Google's in the White House, guys, you got to understand. This is about each and every company printing their own currency. Literally, there's laws written against that. Okay? But when big corporations start calling crypto currency, like I just did a bunch of times and I shouldn't have done it, it's property. It can be traded without taxation. You can barter with property. I can trade you my property for your property. No taxes are allowed to be involved in barter. Okay? They keep doing these things with these big corporations that don't like us to keep calling it currency, so that they can print their own currency. That's called counterfeiting. They used to, in the 1800s, when the gold rush in the United States, people owned their own banks, printed their own currency. This was before the U.S. government was the world reserve currency. They're trying to get back to those days. And there's some validity to that system. It's why crypto is so enticing even to big corporations, is printing your own value, stabilizing your own value, has value. All right? Not letting some guy in the White House and a bunch of his friends from California go out there and print money and then hand it to more friends in California and go, oh my God, did your car price go up 48% last year? Who knew? Everybody but the guy printing money, right? Apparently. We just bought a brand new Jeep. Got us a new Wrangler with a turbo diesel in it. It was either that or a Ferrari. Same price. $70,000 for a Jeep. And what's worse, we were fighting to buy it. There's so few of them out there because of the chip shortage. We knew that the turbo diesel was going to save us $330 a month because we drive that much in fuel. Even though diesel's more expensive than gas, we save money because of the fuel efficiency of a turbo diesel. It's running, when we get done modifying, it'll be about 33 miles per gallon for a four-wheel Rubicon with 600 foot-pounds of torque. That's better than my pickup. All right, so let's get into this. What you guys need. I appreciate you guys following, like, and subscribe. I'm trying to look out for you on keeping your entry costs. We're now in a bear market or heading into it. It seems like we got a little bit further to go to get to the bottom of a bear market. But you can't believe what anybody's saying. Big corporations are trying to boot up their crypto at the same time that the dollar is and Biden's going to try and deflate the U.S. dollar, making the U.S. dollar worth more. And everything's in a reference. You got two things trying to fight over who's more valuable. All right. So remember that. Remember, a Bitcoin's worth a Bitcoin's worth a Bitcoin. When you're talking in Bitcoin, a dollar, what's Bitcoin at? Like $37,000 today. I think it takes $37,000 US dollars to buy one Bitcoin. It's not that Bitcoin's worth so much; it's that the dollar's worth so little. It takes 37,000 of them to buy one digital asset. But all the dollar and the dollars nowadays is worse than any cryptocurrency because they just print it. We will not tolerate the crypto world just printing currency. We set up contracts. We say how much is in it. We say how we're going to access it via mining or proof of work, proof of stake. We set a value to it. And then the market decides based on who's using that crypto. That determines value, scarcity. And the whale of the idea behind everybody that prints up their own crypto is, can I get enough people using it that the value keeps going up? And then we start talking about micro versions, like 0.000, like a micro Bitcoins, instead of full Bitcoins. You don't pay for a full Bitcoin for anything, right? Unless you're buying a brand new Jeep Wrangler, and then it's 2 Bitcoin for a brand new Jeep Wrangler. Please tip. I'm not making enough for this. All right. So dual tuning, I did this in the last video. We're tuning for heat. Okay, so I started playing with Dual a 3 weeks ago, and this is why I actively got into the TeamRedMiner forums, because I saw all the problems that I was having physically on the Polaris cards. I had it dual mining ALF, and it was creating heat. So dual mining is dual mining when it comes to creating heat. Let me get you over into screen 1. We're going to kick off the decks. I wanted to give you a reference for where I started here because for those who don't know me, I'm going to go through the process of trying to achieve what I want to achieve instead of going in here, just do this. I'm not a just guy. I don't just do anything. I don't assume that either you nor me know what the hell we're doing. This software is not even supported. I'm going to close DAX down, and I'm going to go back over here. Okay, so some slightly different numbers. And we see some red. I don't like to get for longevity, I don't like these Polaris cards over 60, okay? But here we're running, I just made an adjustment in here. What's that say? 213, 208. Yeah, that's where I was. I was at 213, and I gave up some ETH hash for some stability in the cards. But you see me running hundreds across there. That's not good. You see 2 that are not. Let's look at the 2 that are not. It's a Samsung, and then the other one's GPU 2. I got a Hynix that's not. But this is the one I bought off of eBay, and I don't know what. This is the one where Son of Tech's got an old video about a BIOS for this particular card to fix that ETH issue. And he doesn't have the website where he uploaded the file to anymore. And, you know, he gets rattled off so many questions directly DM to him probably that he's like me, I ignores 99% of them. Yeah, you direct message me. I look over my forums, my public forums, and the reason I do that is that's where everybody's learning from the question you're asking. Okay, if I fail to solve a question, that's fine. But I'm putting out information publicly. I'm not your private coach. You are not paying me by the hour to tune your equipment. You literally think that because I'm on YouTube, I should do it for free for you. Okay. The only place that's free to shop is Mom's Refrigerator. And I just don't live with my mother anymore. So that YouTuber, probably not real hardcore on his work ethic. That's why he's shopping at the place that's free to shop and willing to work for you for free. All right. So the public forum is where we do this, guys. You know, publicly ask your questions. We publicly answer your questions. I want to quickly show, because this HiveOS fixed something when they put the 9.3 in here, because yesterday I couldn't get my mix rig. Oops, sorry, didn't even click my mix rig. My mix rig here, which is now doing 1.1 on the, these are 4 gig cards. I'm getting 1.1 gig for a RX580 4 gig card. Yesterday they wouldn't run on 922. Today they're running on 922. I didn't do anything since they weren't running. I was going to go in here and upgrade to 9.33, to the 0.3 version on film, which we will do. Hold on. I know you can click in here and it's like same, but I don't like it. And this is one of the things where in the TeamRedMiner, well, just shell in and copy the miner over. I'm not doing that. Can I do that? Yeah, I know how to copy in Linux, guys. And when you get up into the thing, you're going to see I write a lot of code. But the reason I'm not going to go copying and custom things is I've learned over the years that when you start customizing your GUI interface, what'll happen is you got to customize it every single time because your custom work gets overwritten by upgrades. Okay. So we're not going to do that. So I'm going to log in, and then dirty little shortcut. I'm just hitting the up arrow because I do this all the stinking time. Self upgrade / force. Hit enter. One, it lets me watch what happens here. Instead of just waiting. And in my mind, I just want to see if something happens before it reboots. That's all it is. I also do this because I got a computer. The matter of fact, the studio computer that we don't mine in Windows with. I will never mine in Windows ever again. I can't tell the difference. I cannot find if Windows is screwing it up or if the people putting out the Windows version mining software is deliberately trying to screw up my Windows computer. All the safety measures that I know how to take, something still happens where I cannot use an AMD video card to record anymore. I can plug it in my machine and mine all day long. It will, my AMD motherboard, my AMD CPU, and I used an AMD card in here for a year and a half, and suddenly I cannot use it no matter how I wipe out the drivers. And I am a pro at gaming. There is something built in there. Drivers sometime BIOS flash certain things, and I'm replacing this motherboard so that I can go back to an AMD for filming. There's certain things I like about NVIDIA is more common for filming, but there's a couple things about AMD I like for filming. I actually like it for editing better. You want to get down to it. I may stick with an NVIDIA card for filming and just edit with an AMD. That's something I'm thinking about, because I'm going to get a motherboard, because motherboards only have 2 graphics card slots, and right now the second graphics card slot I use for 4K capture. So I can run an HDMI cable over to, say, the S37 motherboard and show you the BIOS. That's how I did the BIOS film. These S37s that I'm showing you here, I did the BIOS film where I actually went through the BIOS, because I have a video set up to where I can film me changing the BIOS. That's how I help you guys, right? Keep the costs down. All right, so starting TeamRedMiner, and then you see BZMiner that's in there. And you know what? Let me show you a quick trick in here. HP, it's Hive package, HPKG, without anything behind it, and it'll give you the memory, right? And then I'm going to go, and then it'll tell you the other commands. HPKG. Ooh, you got to remember, I'm actually going out to the web and coming back. I'm not even talking directly to that motherboard over there. That's why the delay. HP, I'm going to purge. Okay. And what I'm doing is I'm forcing that motherboard to eliminate all the miners I've downloaded and updated. You see all kinds of miner stuff. Look at all this stuff coming out of there. I'm just going to get rid of all of them. LOL miner, everything. Just going to get rid of all of it. And this is a mix rig. It's a mix rig, right? So with the mix rig, I'm always using weird custom flight sheets and things like this. And what I went into TeamRedMiner for was TeamRedMiner. Normally in HiveOS, you can put in a custom, the GitHub download, and it will install the miner as a custom miner. That wouldn't work. And everyone's, well, why don't you just copy and paste? Because I don't have to. The #1 platform that people use is HiveOS. If it can't pull the new miner over so that I can play with it a day early, all I want to do is play with it on film yesterday. So I got to wait for the day when HiveOS is caught up. And everybody was all upset that I just wouldn't go out there and do all this extra work to a rig to test their software. And I personally, having been a business owner for a long time, look at this as a customer support issue. Yes, I buy TeamRedMiner. You know why? Because they have a dev fee. I'm paying them when it works. So for the last 6 weeks since dual mining got popular, LOL miner's gotten all my money. So I've paid TeamRedMiner nothing. I prefer the TeamRedMiner on AMD cards. It's much less abusive and much more tunable, as I'm about to show you. All right, so that's all done. Now I'm going to reboot the rig. And I'm just going to close the window. And I can hear the beeping over there. And we're not going to worry about it until, well, I can refresh this and make it sure it says nothing. Okay. Now this up, down, down, that's a different issue that I'm looking into. And we got off on a side discussion over there, and that upset Kenny because it was relevant to the ton, but it's relevant to the AMDs on the ton because the guy posted a chart on his ton looked like this. And I suspect this is a Nagle problem. Okay, a Nagle problem is some dumbass with a PhD in networking somewhere came up with this concept of saving energy and bandwidth for the phone companies by pre-compressing packets and waiting milliseconds of ping time to send the packet. That's what the Nagle function. It's default in all software, especially Windows. If you're a Windows miner, you need to look up how to turn off Nagle. Okay, there's software out there that does it. Just turn off the Nagle. When I get Idle Tools website back up, I will just have a registry tweak. You'll download it, click the button, and I will re-optimize your network card just like I used to do for the gamers. I'm not ready yet. And what that'll do is it'll send the packets when the packets are ready. You'll get fewer stale shares. Okay. This is a thing that can upset the server side. But not. Because depending on the lag of the Nagle, they're just going to get the packets that they were going to get anyway. For gamers, this is one of these things where your character jumps from point A to point B. And for most part, the games have figured out how to induce lag so that Windows' Nagle doesn't cause lag, right? Games are optimized for 200 milliseconds, if you don't know. So having a faster than 200 millisecond ping time in a multiplayer game doesn't give you any advantage, because the software in now for the games turns around and does that. Okay, so these are coming back, and I gotta look at the flight sheet on this. Oh, that says the latest. Okay, the latest is going to be 922. So I got 2 NVIDIA cards in here, and we're back up to 1.1, 109. All right. So I'm going to go in here. I'm going to set up miner config, and I'm going to switch from latest. I'm going to go. I should have. There it is. Had to refresh the page. All right. So apply changes. Update. All workers. This custom flight sheets because I got NVIDIA cards and AMD cards side by side in here, just doing shit coins. They make, I think the NVIDIA cards literally make about 4.5 cents a day right now because they're little. But they mine ALF and they add ALF power to my, I got to mine an ALF over here. They do pretty good on ton. These little NVIDIA 960s, they're the 2 gigabyte ones. You got a 2 gigabyte card over there. We'll do 500 mega hash on ton. Pick those things up for $60, $70. If you're buying them, if you got them laying in a drawer, pull them out, plug them in, make them make money. That's where they're making money, is if you already own it. And that's where I got off on the thing where the guy's like, "Oh, I'm not making any money on ton because transfer." You're making extra money with ton. You were making your money with your ETH. That's why you bought it. That's why it's set up. Oh, well, tons fees are outrageous. Well, ton figured out, hey, we can do this stuff extra, and we're going to charge you out the fee. Welcome to capitalism from the communists. That's how it works. We'll force you to buy our product. We once upon a time called that process the way of the Obamacare. You need healthcare, so healthcare is so good we had to force you to buy it. All right, so let's go back to our other rig. Look, you're making money on the ton. I personally am going to wait out the ton. I don't need the daily money, so I'm just going to wait. The way the ton contracts are set up, ton mining right now, 6 months at the current hash rates. If I did my math right, I might be wrong on that. It's not going to last forever. They are planning on proof of stake fees. At that point, you hope the exchanges open up and ton trading comes into place, which will cause more ton burn. And then I'm just going to wait it out. This is one of these things where I plan on getting 300, 400, 500 ton and just holding it, see what happens in 3 years. Okay. It's not that big of an electric bill. It's extra stuff. I was already paying the bills with my regular stuff. All right. Except these 22 mega hash ones. Them sorry bastards. What am I making on these right now? This rate, about $14 for 18 cards, for 8 cards. $14 a day. So that's what this comes out to. Well, that's what this came out to before the ton went up. I was getting $4.50 on ton before. When I did the video before and I showed the I got math in the previous video. And with LOL miner, which was getting me worse ETH rates and worse ton rates. With this 9.3 miner, I'm getting 10% more ETH and almost 40% more ton. So but the prices on everything has dropped since that video. So I'm making more crypto, but I'm not making, and I'm probably back to making the same money. If that makes sense. All right. I know this as of yesterday, just in my ETH was, I think of the other one, I was almost $10 a day in my ETH. I'm down to 8. So about a 20% down because of mining, not because of and now I'm going back up 10% for my 20% down just because the software is doing me good. So let's get into the flight sheet. Oh, hold on. I did something for you guys because flight sheets are hard to read. Let me go this. There we go. I wanted to go over all these little things up here. Let me get my mouse up here. Now, I'm not using this top. Hold on. Let me go back again. I'm going to go in here, go flight sheets. I'm going to edit my flight sheet. TeamRedMiner. Okay. And then now we do. Let me go back to screen one. All right. Let me see if I can blow that up. Okay. Now, I'm going to want to encourage more throttling here because the $14 a day sounds nice, but I know Polaris doesn't like to be over 60 degrees. Yeah. If you can get it down to 60, some guys swear to God they can run them at 70 forever. I don't need the money I don't need that extra pennies that bad. I don't want to replace the cards. I don't think they'll last the 200 days of the cards that I bought now. Now, the cards I got coming, I'm down to 120 days of ROI. I don't think they last the 200 at 70 degrees. And this is where I think people got in trouble with the Polaris, is they didn't have enough memory sensors in there, and you don't know enough about the cards. So they either work or they don't. I buy them off of eBay. I've got a premium eBay account. Basically, if I say, hey, I want my money back, I don't care if you wrote it. And guys, you'll look through eBay and you'll see no returns accepted. Bullshit. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I just had a guy, no returns accepted. He sold me an 8 gig 580, and when it showed up, it was a 4 gig 580. I paid a premium for it because I wanted it now to finish out. I was trying to finish out my, in the previous video where I was trying to finish out my Binance because I'm done not my Binance. I was trying to finish out my HiveOS pool. I'm done mining HiveOS. You cannot grow daily with HiveOS because they were, while I was waiting that last 48 hours to get my ETH out of HiveOS, ETH crashed. I lost $70 because they're waiting till 0.1 payout. Their business model is their business model. I don't have to participate within their business model is what I'm saying. I'm not complaining about their business model. They've got reasons for it. They've got a no dev fee. And if you look at things from a big farm perspective, which is what they're trying to entice people over, low fees, big farms, faster payouts. I'm not big enough. It takes me 30 days with my rigs to get 0.1 ETH. When I was just doing point with the rigs I got set up now, I think it's actually down to 22. But it was 30 days 2 weeks ago before I started buying more cards in here. All right, so this is my stuff. I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do this down here for people that are copying the film. I'm gonna copy from that paper. I'm going to turn around and put this down in the description below. All right. And what I'm doing is I'm putting my my ton wallet right in there, and I'm going to have it down in the description below. Why? Because if I'm making you more money by showing you how to set this up, mine for me for a day, 1 day, on a 580. It ain't that much ton. That's 50-60 cents as a tip. All right. You don't need to PayPal me or go through somebody else or Google, who takes 40% of my money. And this being tax season, I got a new form from Google this year. Royalties. And I thought, I've never gotten a royalty form from Google before. Turns out Google worked with the IRS and figured out a way, and you're going to see movie stars complaining because now any of the investment in hardware that I'm doing now for filming, I don't get to take that off my taxes with a royalty income. Only this year's income can I deduct any of my expenses. So all the videos people watch from me for my gaming from last year, which I make way more in royalties than I make in current video income. My stuff's so relevant long term that I make almost 2.5 times as much in royalty money that I do in new video drops. A new video drops, I get about $20. Not on this channel. I get 0 on this channel. So if you want to, from now on, I thought I'm just going to put this out there. And guys go, well, you're just going to get your wallet hacked. If giving you my receive wallet address hacks my wallet, then that wallet was broken. Not me telling somebody how to send me money. So I'm not ever going to be afraid of a receive wallet address. I'm going to be afraid of the company that designed the wallet. All right. So I don't know anything about that ton wallet other than it's overly simplistic. It probably can be hacked. And by putting my stuff out there, maybe we'll find out. There's not enough in there worth stealing. And I got more than one wallet. It ain't worth you getting caught. I promise you that. And I'm security minded. If you're ever over on the GunMuse channel, we got the trolls that come in and like, he's talking about doing work with NASA satellites. And what we were talking about in the live was I was showing people on LinkedIn that a company that was trying to get satellite security was trying to hire me to take over their security project for ground uplink satellite communications. Something I used to do back in the early 90s. And I was very honest with him, and I showed everybody that message too. It's like, man, I haven't done that for 25 years. And from what I understand about the industry now, you're talking about we're going to have to turn around and replace every board on the ground as well as up in space, because this guy named Bill Clinton sold the Chinese all our freaking IBM motherboards that are in the satellites, which is why they're worried about satellite security. I'll put it out there for everybody. The Democrats have been screwing us for a very, very, very long time. They sold China IBM, which gave them all the patents for every project they ever worked, and IBM built most of the military infrastructure back in the 90s, and we're still using that stuff. So, little off topic, but not, right? We got to be careful with this Chinese stuff. There's drivers coming out for the low hash rate cards. Hey, back in 05, 06, that was how you hacked a computer. was you literally hacked the driver and you went out and put it on the web and said, I got a driver that makes your game run 50 times faster. And I just got done telling you, I think one of the miners, because miners will bring in their own drivers, upgraded my AMD driver at one point in time, and I've never been able to video on that AMD, on any AMD ever again, no matter how I wipe out the drivers. I've done everything but wipe and reload the hard drive. But I suspect that there's so much hidden memory on these motherboards these days that, and I did do a wipe on the motherboard, still didn't make it go away. So, I'm just going to replace the motherboard, replace the drive, and build a new studio system. That's where I'm at on that. Okay, so you're seeing up here, I want to go through this stuff. Init style 3. So you got more than one card in there. This is initting no more than 3 cards at a time, and it's not 3 because of the number of cards. That's just, it's built in the software, and init style 3 boots 3 at a time. I got 8 cards. Don't power them up all at the same damn time. Okay. Fan defaults Polaris 5550. Okay. This is a good setting. I just put this one back in. ETH allocation Epcot 460. I worked this number up last summer. When I was first starting to dink with, I only had 2 580 cards, and I was dinking with what I could get away with. In the literature, it says 390 is what a Linux machine will get. Windows will get a lot less. Okay. And what this is pre-allocating memory to ETH. Because the ton doesn't need the memory that the ETH does, pre-allocating some memory to that is a non-fighting situation, in my opinion. And I'm getting some good things. Auto-tune scan, I probably will, I let the ETH auto-tune. I don't know how well the auto-tune works with the dual mining. I do see the numbers change a little bit over time. So it is doing something. Now, here is a good one. ETH DAG buff. Okay. Is this easier to read here? It's a little bit easier to read. You know what? And I can Control plus, make that bigger. All right. So where was it? ETH DAG's buff equals S. By default, the Polaris card runs in dual mode. Okay. It's more efficient and saves a little bit of power, not enough to notice, by running it in single mode. I saw the hash rate jump. Matter of fact, when I done some tuning, I was at 204 on the ETH when I tuned it down a little bit for the heat, and I'm not done tuning it down because we're going to do some of it on film. And then when I put this in there, I jumped to 208. And I saw another degree drop. So, good there. This is specifically for the ETH, which is memory intensive, right? And we're just using a single buffer because we're only doing a single job at a time instead of dual buffers. So there's no sense allocating two buffers. If I'm understanding TeamRedMiner's literature, do not yell at me if I don't. It's their bad literature. I understand what dual buffers are and single buffers are. I set up my own servers. I go through every line of code in Linux to set up my own servers to maximize efficiency of my servers down to the, that's why I know about freaking Nagle, right? When I want 1 million people to talk to me a month, I don't want to be waiting. I don't want them to open a connection and then have their computer waiting a few microseconds or 200 milliseconds to send the next packet. I just wanted their computer to ping, 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 and mine to be able to receive it. Okay. So when I'm sending stuff back out, I know I'm sending out a single packet because I actually use my CPUs to compress my packets. So I'm sending out much smaller packets, and then your computer decompresses the packets, which actually makes the connection faster for both of us. That's not what they tell you to do on Google. Google is literally telling people how to set up a Linux server like it's got a Pentium 3 in it from 1998. You cannot look at Google because 14-year-olds who optimize for Google ads copy someone else's bullshit and don't understand what the numbers mean. Okay? The guy who can do the math is not going to build you a helpful website. He doesn't give a shit. He's got a job. That kind of guy that does that kind of math has a job. He doesn't care whether or not you can fix your stuff right. He can fix his stuff right, and he's not even using his stuff. He's just designing it. So, ETH buff equals S for you can put an A in there for auto, or D for dual mode, S for single mode. All right, I am using the single mode. Dual intensity. How much of the GPU are we going to use for ton? Okay. I'm at 0.75 right now. Matter of fact, on film here, we will creep that up a little bit. See what happens. ETH DAG cache equals 0. All right. TeamRedMiner, knowing it's going to do another job in a few minutes, knows... And so based on the pool asking for a certain amount of memory, they pre-configured DAG cache. All right, it was just an optimization. So once the software kind of learns the pool, it doesn't have to keep allocating a new cache. That's my understanding of how they're using this. Now, and again, if I'm wrong, put us the comment down in there. Don't act like I don't know how tech works. How about I don't know anything from the information that I can read? And talking to people who are constantly upset that you're asking a question isn't fun. I'll tell you that right now. If you treat people who pay you money that poorly, I can't wait for the guy who turns around and says, hey, you know what? I'm going to make a fork off of freaking TeamRedMiner, and we're going to do this, and we're going to run customer service. The money's coming in. Treat it like a customer is worth something. They usually are. Okay. So, eat that dual intensity 0.75. I'm going to creep that up 100th at a time and see what happens to my ETH rate. Okay, ETH doesn't need a bunch of GPU. Okay, so the ETH DAG cache is, I'm putting a 0 in there to eliminate it trying to remember the cache, because I'm wondering about the conflict between the pools. Now, I stuck this in here, and both my ETH and my ton did go up. All right. So this was a curiosity. No one's discussed it before me. It's probably shocking news to anybody over at TeamRedMiner that's watching this video if they've got this far into it. Okay. Because no one's talking about it for dual mining. And then I've got my little ton thing you got to put in the deal down here. All right. So let's get rid of that. Let's get in some tuning. All right. And like I said, I'm going to, well, let's first make a big jump. I'm going to apply, update all workers. Okay. We were at 208 on the mega hash. Takes a minute to ramp up. And I hope that, you know, look, we're one-on-one here. There's one guy watching me. There's just me talking. I'm alone in my room talking to you. If you're following along, I don't cut and edit the films because my audience tends to be a follow-along audience. They actually, I get way more watch time than other YouTubers. because I explain it, I show it. Sometimes you guys pause it a little bit just to catch up, to do it yourself. Because hopefully I'm clicking the buttons fast enough like I know what I'm doing. And I can tell you this one outlier of my 590 cart is a pain in the ass. That 590 does not tune well at all. It doesn't tune normal. Just is what it is. And I can hear my fans ramping up. And as you see, 3, and then, we got a final card that's not ramped in yet. And that's because of the init style, it's not turning them all on. And let's go up here. Refresh the page. Okay. All right. So I went to 0.8, and right now we're looking like we're down on the ton. Let's let this other card get fully initted here. And I think once I get the temperatures where I want we tune for the temperature. All right. The previous video that I put out was tuning for temperature. We're going to tune for the temperature because this is about durability of my hardware. The TeamRedMiner doesn't care. LOL Miner doesn't care. If you blow your shit up, it's not their problem. Okay? It's your problem. Okay? So let's not tear our stuff up. So here we're jumping 752s. We're at 199. $208.5. And we're not getting a full report there, but I do believe nope. So there's no reporting to HiveOS on the second logarithm. That's a TeamRedMiner problem. That's a HiveOS problem. They're going to have to cooperate to each other to get a stat out of there. But you can see that I went up in ETH. I would have had to sit down and calculate all these things. All right, so that's a reporting issue. 209. We're creeping up in the ETH with the 0.8. What's nicer here is we are, and look, that 590, my pain in the ass 590. Okay, so we're creeping up in ETH. Which is odd, because remember what I did. I went to 80% of the GPU is now for the secondary coin. Isn't that what that says? Dual intensity. You know what? I'm going to pull up their wording. Dual intensity. I got to get down here to ton options. Dual mining options, dual intensity, X, Y, and Z. Let me blow that up for you guys. All right. The Vega and Polaris implementation can adjust the intensity. And this is why I don't like GitHub. I am blind. GitHub is just a terrible place to send your customers. It is for nerds to talk to nerds. Okay. They want to make money off non-nerds. The soccer moms, the soccer dads who aren't playing the game every day, or while they go to work, the home computer can be making money. Whatever it is, that's their target audience, but they don't talk to that target audience. That's what we do. Okay. I'm talking to you. I'm listening. I know what you need, baby. All right. So we get down here. All GPUs use 75% of maximum possible ton GPU availability. Okay. So that percentage is the dual coin that we're mining. Dual intensity. If I've got 2,000 clocks on my GPU, or 1,000 clocks on my GPU, 750 of them go towards ton, which is what we're talking about now. So I took it from 750 clocks to 800 clocks out of 1,000. All in theory. And you can set it by GPU. So I didn't do that, and I might have to do that because I got this mixed bag of GPUs for these 580s, for this Polaris rigs. So let's go back here. And it may be something I have to do where I'm turning around and giving. But see, the cards that are doing bad on ETH and have always done bad on ETH are doing better on ton. I'm making more money, way more money. Okay, so now figure out why I went up on ETH, allocating more GPU to ton. Okay. And we are getting some heating issues. Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a slight core voltage adjustment. This is one of the things you probably need to learn about adjusting these voltages. Don't just copy and paste what I'm doing here. I promise you that it's not good. First of all, you've got to move it more than 0.6 volts or the card can't tell you moved it. All right. That's just been that way forever. Find a really old tuning guide for tuning for gamer, and they'll explain why that is. The chipset just talks in steps of 0.6 volts. We can plug any number we want in there, but it doesn't matter. You got to go more than 0.6 or you haven't adjusted anything. All right. So we're seeing... Okay, that dropped my ton. Making that adjustment. Now, my motherboard only burns 40 watts. The S37 is a 40, 50 watts. I think if you go look on websites, it says 1,500 watts. That's because they're including a 1,500 watt power supply to power all the motherboards. When they tell you that. The motherboard itself only burns 40 watts. The CPU is only like 21 watts. And then and then there's, I guess, some bleed that's burning the other 20. And then every single slot is individually powered by your power supply. So each and every card can be measured one card at a time on an S37. It's not a big bag of here's what my power is at the wall. I got my power at the wall. I've adjusted it to 40 watts so that my software, in HiveOS, you can go tell it what your rig burn is. And so I have adjusted it so that when this tells me 944 watts, that's what my rig's really burning. I'm usually within 3 to 4% of the wall. Let's be sitting my ass in my chair, be lazy. I'm disabled. It's really hard for me to get up. And especially in a rolly chair. I got to have the rolly chair to move in and out. But it's also one of them things that'll bust my ass on, right onto the ground. So, we should be going up in ton. And we are going up in heat. So we're going to go make that flight sheet adjustment again. We're going to go the other direction. All right. We're going to... So we went from 75 to 80. Let's go from 75 to 70. Keeping in mind, this is about your comfort. I mean, your environment's different than mine. I'm freezing my ass off in here right now. I got 10-inch thick walls. You know, I'm high up in elevation in the mountains. It's cooler around here during the winter, and it is much, much, much hotter during the summer. So my summer settings will be different than my winter settings. I'll wind up creating a flight sheet that says, summer's here, you know, to turn down temperatures even more, and then I'll figure out whether or not that flight sheet's worth running in the heat. I will more than likely have some stuff built out here. I am going to, I did all the ASIC mining on the earlier videos, and I'll tell you what I've come up with. I got ASIC miners that'll make $1, $3 a day. But more importantly, they'll pump 350 cubic feet per minute worth of air. And I'm actually going to design my ASIC miners to remove the air from the room so that I don't have to run a separate exhaust system. I can run the ASIC miners efficiently, tell them to run their fans at 100% so that they're moving air, and then I run them at an efficient mode. They make $1 a day removing my heat instead of buying a exhaust system for $1,000 and then paying the electric bill on it every day. So I'm looking at my whole package. Why wouldn't, you know, if I need more airflow coming out, I'll put another ASIC next to it, make another $1 a day, and pump more air out of the room. All right, so this is about solving the problems that I've seen from people who are not, and I'm not blaming, I'm not belittling. I know for a fact at my age, if you're under 40, you have been robbed of your brain being trained to use deductive reasoning. You've been robbed of it. They eliminated it from schools long before they started telling you, you know, hey, communism is awesome. Let us tell you what to do. They had to eliminate deductive reasoning because if you look at what, it's like, well, I'm just going to turn around and take all your property away and I'll give you some of it back. How's that better for me? Apparently, if you're under 40, you don't know that doesn't work. I'm just going to take everything, give you a little back, so that we're all equally miserable. I don't want to be as miserable as the guy that, you know, running around, you know, I see people running around the Circle K or the 7-Eleven in pajamas, sometimes slippers. You know, we got Circle K's out here in the Midwest. We used to call that Circle K feet, running around barefoot. That person has no ambition. I don't want them to have what I have. I literally want them to be hungry enough to go apply themselves to something to better themselves in lives. That's just the way I think. All right. So we've had a little bit of time for adjustment. I mean, let's go back to my overview. I think that's easier to see. And we are at 208.9 on ethash. Now I've given up some ton, about 30 mega hash a card, it looks like, on average, from that 5%. But my temperatures are coming down. Right? So now we can go play with individual cards. See, it's a percentage of this number. So first I find a happy spot. And I might want to lower that a little bit more. So I'm playing with my 590, which is a pain in the ass. It's a power pig. And it likes to lock up when I devolt it. But here's the weird thing about this card. You notice the power just, well, we'll wait. So I just turned up the clock. So my 658 on that card should jump. Now, normally, if I'm running ETH alone on TeamRedMiner on this card, 31 megahash. So I'm giving up quite a bit. But my overall money per day is higher. It's just about getting this temperature in balance. Okay, I cannot run that card at 80 degrees. It's just not possible. And I think I just climbed the temperature. Of course I did. I just added more frequency to it. But I also did not get any freaking ton out of the deal. So, again, we're tuning for heat. We're going to go all the way down to 1,000 on this one. Because what I can do, now this is where we get in the dual tuning. When you increase one, when I play with the GPU, I affect both coins by the percentage that I set in the dual intensity, right? We're down to 0.65 or something like that. Now, oh man, I don't even remember what the number was, but I do believe I just went up in ton. Oh, nope, there we go. We just didn't wait long enough. So 708. And we're up in temperature. That 590, I swear to God, when we decrease the clocks on that thing, because it's the 590 Fat Boy is like a 1500 megahertz clock. I think you can take it too low. Right? I think we're adding heat by going too low. But before we determine that, I'm going to add some core voltage at that low clock rate. Yeah, we lost some ETH there. Oh, we lost a lot of frickin' turning that clock down. So I'm going to add some to it. But I want the damn temperature to go down. While we're waiting on that. Look, I got an old 580 here. Okay. So a lot of these, I'm sorry, I got an old 480 here. And the 580, 480, same platform. The 480 had better cooling on it than the 580 did. These things were big pick. They were more expensive to build. The 580 was supposed to be the low cost production run of the 480, and they put better chips in it, and the 580 has been a workhorse. Okay. The 480 burns a lot more wattage than the 580 did because they put better chips in it to reduce the heat so they could reduce the cost of manufacturing. And our temperature has gone up over here. But I want to show you something on these things. All right. If you got a graphics card that has this kind of exposure, okay, first of all, we're heating two sides of the heatsink now in the cards. And everybody goes pads. Get rid of the damn pads. This is not gaming. This is mining. Okay. I used to use ceramic 2 because I got machines out in Dallas that have been out there for 800 miles away that I've had them out there for 9 years until the hardware wears out. Now I'm using MX4. I hadn't even opened the box on this yet. I'm actually going to repaste some of these cards. Go nuts with this stuff. The point to this, okay, the rating on the paste. Buying paste and repasting your stuff. Repasting does not make it better. Changing the quality of the paste makes it better. All right. This is my paste. This is my graphics processor creating crap loads of heat. All right. This is your brain. This is your brain on drugs. All right. This is my heat sink that's going to reduce my heat. This is what you're doing when you're pasting something. All right. This stuff, which was $100 a tube at one point in time, because it was so good, is now replaced by this stuff that costs $8 a tube and is 4 times better than my old ceramic that I used to use. I was using this on these graphics cards out of habit, and I have a tube of it in the shop. Now that we're dual mining, and I saw what the heat situation was, I went and did my research looking for a number. This, where the heat's produced, when you run a thermal laser over it, and then you run a thermal laser over this, the difference in temperature is determined by the quality of this. So this could be 80C, but this could be 74C, because the heat's not being transferred efficiently. This paste is so good that the 80C, this will be 80C. In other words, the heat is moving faster to be removed quicker. This will reduce throttling. All right? I promise you this will reduce throttling. And I don't give a damn what the FEC says about telling you to buy something. I don't give a shit. I'm telling you, buy this stuff. It's good stuff. I'll have a link in it in the description below. And yes, I will have an affiliate link in there. You know why? Because I want to make money. I'm a damn capitalist. Screw the FEC. If you don't know, they're trying to go after people recommending coins, things like that. And the video that I showed up, the post up there of Son Attack that I was watching, he seemed a little nervous about it. You know, we don't pump coins, so it doesn't really matter. Us talking about ton here is talking about the mechanical procedures of ton, right? In a mining context, I'm not buying ton and then telling you to buy ton. His video on that's really a good explanation where he goes back, because he was doing this long before I was, and he explains what happened with the Ponzi scheme of pumping coins and how everybody's trying to use that to. So we're at 208.2. Still at 83 there. At the 1,000. All right. I'm going to take this thing up to 1350. Now, what I also changed in there was the power state. Okay. I have manual settings in there, but that number is a value of the power setting. So I turned down the amount of power that's being applied to it, because it's burning a lot of power. It's burning a tremendous amount of power. We'll see if that affects it. So that's why I'm working with the 590. It's one of my hardest cards to work with. But remember, that 84 degrees, oh, look at that. Big, I went up in clock rate. Well, maybe, and it dropped 6 degrees. But that could have been a reboot. Let's give it a second. And I dropped the wattage. This is one of these things where, again, where we're talking about tuning. Don't think more is better, and don't think less is better. Tuning's tuning. I just cut 70 watts out of this card. Now I've dropped some ton and ETH at the same time. So what I'm more than likely going to do here, you just saw what I did to try and find. There we go. Oh, 69, because it crashed. Oh, no, it didn't crash. Did it crash? It did crash. All right, it didn't like that. So let's go back to, we'll go to 1275. It liked the clock. I'm going to do a mass adjustment on that here shortly. I'll do that. And then I will tell you right now with HiveOS, it's not going to recover. So I'm going to go power, reboot. I'm going to reboot the whole card, all the cards on that. Like I said, that's a 1500 megahertz GPU. I'm out, whereas on a 580, the max is 1350. And honestly, if you get above 1200 on those, it doesn't like it. You know, again, overclocking for overclocking's sake is not smart. That's one of the problems with little gaming websites. Like, oh, and look what I did on the test platform. I got X amount of frames per second. Yes, for the 40 seconds that you tested it. Now get into your game and watch the damn thing overheat and crash and kick you out of the game. You need to find your durable sweet spot, and every one of these cards in this rig is different. So I'm going to be spending a little time with dual mining. Now, the reason I'm doing this now is, you see, I got this yesterday, and I'm going to go repasting some cards. Okay, I'm going to remove the pet thermal pads. I'm going to lop some of this across the pipes so that memory side and GPU side are sharing the thermal better. Honestly, replacing the thermal plate is what's going to be a better upgrade, a physical upgrade to it. Over in Son of Tech's Rocket Chat thing, you go sign up. It gives you pay the $2, you get his Rocket Chat, and then you can go in there and Hammerman owns a machine shop, I think. From my understanding, somehow he's making plates for NVIDIA's, so that the NVIDIA heat sinking works better. I talked to him about making plates for the 580s. I got a 580 here that as soon as I replace it, I've already torn apart a bunch of stuff on it. It's actually operating. It's in the rig. You're looking at it, but I took all the screws out and stuff, kind of dug around in there. And I was going to send him a 580 to maybe come up with a better concept for heat, for freestanding cards. The big heat sinks work. You know what? Oh, now you see why I don't move around that much. All right. Big heat sink. Graphic card with big heat sink. Okay. The 7700s, still kind of a famous freaking card from AMD, came looking like this, right? I pulled a heatsink off a card designed to be fanless and put it on the 7700 card, and it ran great. Allowed me to make it a single slot unit and put it inside of a server where I run gaming bots on it for a while. Great card for that. The server just burns a bunch of electricity, and I got tired of that. But same concept in an ASIC. Big heat sinks work. It's about the type of metal, the quantity of metal, okay, and the air surface of that metal. So here's like a problem with making artificial heat sinks. You know, you'd have to cast the aluminum, or whatever this is, you know, and machine out the extra fins. So from a machine shop, going and getting a brick of copper, shaving it down, then you got to turn around and make you got to do something with all them shavings. You can't throw that. You can't scrap that much copper. Okay. But I can tell you where you can get great copper for scrap is old servers. If you got an old server auction going around somewhere, there are some monstrously thick, massive heat sinks made out of copper in those things with fans attached to them that could be repurposed. I also have an old bullet machine for melting down metal and casting it. If I went out and got 4 casts made of some micro heat sinks, I could throw copper in there and literally cast the heat sinks. The thing would just drop out, ding, 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 ding. That's some investment cost. I got an old smelter that'll fit in a small garage. Somebody wants to start up a new job selling heat sinks to mining people. That's a good thing. I'd never even thought about making heat sinks in that until I held this in my damn hand. I was like, holy crap, all I got to go do is get the molds made and make the heat sinks. After that, you can choose any damn metal you want to melt in it. Little copper, little lead. Which you should not put lead in it to save costs, because lead will change how electricity moves around the chips. And your heatsink will create a problem that you were unaware of. Matter of fact, Dell had a laptop that they used lead underneath the touchpad to save some money. And it was right above the CMOS battery. And because it screwed, and so the electricity literally created a air electrical short for the CMOS battery. And the CMOS batteries wouldn't last a month because they saved some money on lead. All right. Let's see what we got here on the reboot. Oh, it says, Mister, you bricked your card. I might have bricked my card. But I didn't. Hold on. Here's the thing about doing this. Sometimes to get it to take the new numbers, I got to completely power off. And not just do a shutdown and reboot for 30 seconds. I got to remove power from this thing. Hold the power button down on the motherboard so that I can do a static discharge. Wait a good 20, 30 seconds. And I just realized a problem over here. I got one mining motherboard pointed at another one right now. I'm literally pumping hot air at this rig I'm talking about, because I've been lazy and haven't gone around and made my stanchions yet. So environment's a little bit of a problem, but that's not what's causing this. I'm not going to change anything till it boots, because it should boot. This is one of the other advantages on a 580 having a dual BIOS switch. So let's say my HiveOS put a number in there and it's not giving me it back. I can go flip the dual BIOS switch, boot it. It'll apply the new numbers to the new BIOS, change them, go back to the old BIOS, and it'll put the new numbers that I just put back into the old BIOS, right? That's a communications issue that's taking place in there. And that's because HiveOS is not respecting my PCI slots. I'm going to do a video on that. Now that I got the two S37 side by side, I'm going to go back into the S37 BIOS with a little more learning on it. I hadn't been playing around with mine since we did the first video setup. It's worked flawlessly. I haven't done a custom setup on the new BIOS, on the new motherboard. And I'm not, see, there's our card back. All right. And let's go in here. I'm going to say 1200. Because we know it wants more megahertz on that GPU. I can't remember what my sweet spot on this was. The HiveOS doesn't. If the cards move around, it will move the voltages around, and I don't like that. That card's not even in slot 3. It's in slot 7. It's just reported as slot 3 in here. GPU 3, slot 4. So we are, look at that, 180 watts. Let's get back to our static. And then we know I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to take some memory out of this. Get this temperature down. All right, we're tuning both sides, and every card's different. But I'm going to go back to my 1100 static, and I'm going to take some memory temperature out of there. And if the memory drops the temp, which it should, there it goes. So now it's dropping again. 27 mega hash, and the temperature's dropping. I can tell you right now, there's something about on some of these memories, but it's not this card, but a 1750 memory sweet spot seems to work on these 580s like nothing better for just being set it, forget it. Oh yeah, that's been running for 4 months type thing. I mean, we're chasing Flightsheets more these days because of one coin versus another coin. And then if anybody's wondering why ton has a 5-ton conversion, it's very simple. Miners, you want paid out daily, okay? You want just cash in your pocket. You're not investing in their product. You don't believe in their things. You want paid out daily. You want paid out often. You want to get rid of the stuff you mined up. Pay me a fee to do it. Their goal is to produce coins on the market to be utilized and traded. That's what a coin is supposed to do. You know, mining is supposed to be about getting money from the fees of that transaction. But proof of stake, the servers are better these days, and you don't have to deal with miners. All going, I'm not making enough per day from your product. You guys are all a bunch of shitheads. How long are you going to listen to that before you say, I don't need you to make money? Look, we're here to use this coin for our corporational business. If anything, proof of stake says, frankly, we're not about diversifying and distributing anymore. You were too much of a problem. I could have told you that before they ever started it, right? The broader your market, the more people in the market. I was talking to one of the developers over at Ton. He says, man, I took a year off before we came back to the Ton project here recently. And he goes, he says, I swear to God, the miners got dumber. And I said, they did. And I'll tell you why. GUIs. HiveOS. Made everybody dumber. They don't have to know what they're doing. Click a button. Go to the YouTube video, copy what the guy on the YouTube video did. You don't have no shit. And that's why the people in TeamRedMiner were talking to me like I'm one of the other guys who doesn't understand what it is I'm asking. I went in there yesterday and asked for the URL to download their software using a HiveOS Flightsheet. Because, newsflash, you can't do that. So when they release a new miner, for me to go out and test it and work out some of the little issues and talk to the guy who works on the issues and maybe talk to him in private before we make it public and cause a problem that doesn't exist. No, he took all that off the table. He's like, no, you just wait. You download it. Come in here and bitch at us. I'm like, that's not productive use of time. I don't understand or like the business concept. And my GPU 3590 is now under control. 25 mega hash, 674. Just freaking crapped again. What the hell? 850. I'll have to work out whether or not I cranking up the GPU screwed it up. I will pull it apart, and it's been running hot, 84 degrees. Running hot means it's pulling more current. Pulling more current means I was tearing up that processor, right? I may have let it go too long. This should reinforce why I'm telling you we're tuning for the heat on these cards. There's a balance, and we'll get into that dual tuning weight. Well, let me go back there because it's been so long since I've been into that. Where's it at? Notepad+. Dual tuning weights. That's how much ETH is worth per mega hash versus how much ton is worth per mega hash. Now, if I add that tune in there, then I got to keep up on it. But the option being in TeamRedMiner means that at some point we'll be able to build an operating system that we monitor the price of a coin throughout the day, throughout the hour, or we check it with the software of TeamRedMiner and we apply it. TeamRedMiner has got the capability now with that to pull that information via TMR software itself. And then I would say, if I'm going to use that option, TeamRedMiner, dynamically pull that information once an hour. All right. And then just say dual tuner weights. Don't have us ask it. You pull that stuff. Well, I see where it says this is 0 and this is 1. That's the weight of the at times of money, right? So, and then it would be, then the dual tuner weights would be a say a 0, right? 0.0 or 0:0 would be how you'd wind up making that one out. Or 3:0. I see where they did it earlier below. 3:0, right? My GPU recovered, but it's hotter than shit. I'm going to pull that card because these numbers aren't making sense. If I keep turning this down, the heat should be dropping. right? Let's go do that on another card for demonstration purposes. This might be something going on with power management. I upvolted with this number. Apply. All right, so we're going to go from 3 to 2. Some reason my brain, I had it twisted around. Be careful of that. You just watch me make these mistakes. Mistakes happen. I could be burning up $300 over there right now. And boom, look at that 590 drop in temperature. Tell you what we're going to do. Let's do an all on that one now. For the dual mining purposes, I'm going to stretch myself to 70 degrees. But I'm not going to run any of them over 70. Staring at it is so awesome. I see some of them going down. That 590 is all the way down to 60 degrees. But I'm also running 1700 on the memory core. All right. So this will be the new power management. Going to come up here. See that 580 with the micro memory? See that? Then the 590's got micro memory too. I should have picked one with different memory. There's a Samsung. This is the beauty of going through these with you guys, is I've got enough of a variety in this rig. See, the beauty of this is right now I got to see it live and I got to remember what I'm looking at. But you'll be able to pause, go back, and say, okay, he made this change and it did this. We're at 205 on the mega hash. And there we got some, that's the Hynix. 1750. We're not getting any temperature drop there either. Samsung's. Some of these are just like, you see a lot of FXXs. I've always preferred the way the MSI is built. So and full disclosure, when I was building overclocking computers for gaming, for competition gaming builds for the manufacturers, they'd come in there, they'd see what you could do, and then they would decide if they're going to build that next year. The MSI was my sponsor. The military grade motherboard, because I'm the military guy, right? Where we got a bunch of metal and heat sinks on the motherboards instead of a bunch of fans. That was me. That's because it worked. We could set them out in an oil rig where, literally dust that thick inside these things. You'd have to take them out back and blow them out with a leaf blower. And those computers were still running. It wasn't about overclocking. It was about dealing with heat in the middle of the desert where it's 120, 130 degrees and keeping your equipment running. They don't give a damn if the person's hot, but the equipment's got to stay running. So we're tuning for heat. So this is in my wheelhouse. I enjoy this. It's a problem to solve. I'll keep working on it. I will spend the next 4 or 5 days tweaking on this. And I'll come back to it if we're in the thing. We're getting there on some of it. Like I said, a couple of these cards I'm going to physically look at because like the 590 is not responding to the tunes like it should. And I know it's not responding to the tunes like it should. So I am going to make one more adjustment on film here. Just for your guys, and that's going to be the memory. There's 2 states on the Polaris for the memory. All right. And I think it explains it down here somewhere. RX cards are known to have 1 or 2 memory states, 3 including idle states. We're not going to be idling. The highest state will be selected by default. In some rare cases, cards may fail to undervolt on the highest state, thus requiring to select the lower one. For example, the highest is 2. Thus the undervolting you would want to see state 1. All right, so we're going to change this to state 1 across the board. We're going to see what crashes. I had been happy with state 2 when I was solo mining. Not solo mining. See, now we're getting into where no one knows the worst. When I was single mining ETH, because I had the great big heat plate and I was, the memory was what was being used the crap out of, and the GPU, I'd run an 1100 on the GPUs all the time anyway. I just apply a little bit more to the. That's where our tuning came from. Like, well, turn down the GPU and turn up the memory. It was a heat game then. Now we're just doing 2 things at once, and so the heat's being made in 2 different places. And I saw some movement there. Okay. Where are we at now? 203. I lost a mega hash going to state 1. What I want to know is, can I lose some heat? Not without playing with some voltages. I'm already at 1290s across the board.
And again, with the variety of 580s that I have here, you get to see what type responds differently to what numbers. Like I said, the Hynix memory ones have been really kicking ass on ton. Since ETH is going away, these were the undesirable cards. It'll do 1.5, 1.6 gig on ton all by itself. No real big difference between 4 gigs and 8 gigs on mining ton single coin. That didn't seem to gain me much, did it? Matter of fact, didn't even. $5.90 still cranking it. Boom! We crashed everything on that one. All right. What you got to do there. Go back to 900s. Save. And then we're going to power cycle because it's more than likely locked up the board completely. Turn power all the way off. And I am going to show you one more thing because this is important with the dual mining because we're playing with the heats and you're walking away from machines. You saw it crash, right? Set your watchdog on HiveOS. Now I got it turned off right now. Oh, where did it? Watchdog. Nope, I got watchdog turned on. Okay, so watch the miners, TeamRedMiner, and I got to set that. I'm going to say 195. And basically, if one card crashes, I'll fall down below 195 and it'll reboot the whole rig. Okay. Why? Because if I've got a GPU that is GPU 0 determined detected dead, that is a bogus message from TeamRedMiner. Once you're done tuning and you're happy with where everything goes, let me pull it. See that right there? No GPU monitor. Man, how much of this video have I done where you couldn't see what the hell I was doing? Bunches. You know what I was saying. We're just having a conversation here. I'm not going back and re-editing that. You're probably not even watching towards the end anyway. All right, so we're waiting for it to recover. This is the fun part of mining, though, for me. Troubleshooting this kind of problem. These are old used cards. I promise you a refurbished card is nothing more than 1 or 2 chips being changed, 1 or 2 chips being changed, and some new pads. So buying used and rebuilding yourself is a much smarter investment than a refurbished card, because refurbished 580s are still going for $499. They're not worth $499. I have never paid more than $350 for one of these 580s. I watch eBay. I wait till they get down there because they're not worth it. Honestly, the 250 mark, stretching it because ETH ain't gonna last that long. And then I'm gonna have a bunch of 8 gig 580s that are capable of doing what? I don't know yet. They don't do other stuff. Well, they do. They do other stuff. I mean, they're great on erg. But no one's turning around trying to make dual mining erg. The erg's GPU driver error. That no, if I put that no graphic monitor in there, it fixes that problem. The no temps. Yeah, don't monitor. That's the internal watchdog of TeamRedMiner not suppressing that error on boot up. It's a Polaris problem. It's not an actual problem. It boots anyway. Now, where we get into some grief, and we went through this one in another video about 2 videos ago, where it's almost an hour long, and I went in there and bookmarked spots in there to where HiveOS will act like your rig is not responding, and you just got to not panic. You know, you don't see me panicking like, oh my God, he just bricked 8 cards. I did not brick 8 cards. Okay. But I do want to see what's going on. I see a high load average. We are going to go in there and look at the miner directly. And this is more than likely not. See, if you don't let the power off long enough to statically discharge those cards, they'll hold the old settings, is what's physically happening. All right. And these motherboards are not grounded well. No one freaking that I've seen on, talks about freaking. See, it's not even communicating with the motherboard. All right. Yes. All right. I got the let it power off for a lot longer that time. I'm gonna have to cut and edit the film for this boot because I let it go. I went in and relieved myself because I generated this mistake. I was about to shut off the video and just let it go, but I generated this mistake on film. I need to solve this mistake on film. 22 seconds ago, TeamRedMiner. There's no way you talked to it 22 seconds ago because I hadn't even heard the fans kick up yet. There we go. This is where I say Hive's interface has a delay, and sometimes it drops communication. We get that little spinning circles like, oh, you were trying to talk to it, and I don't know what you're trying to say. Okay, so and this is why I don't like clicking this button because I hate seeing this little freaking 3-dot thing, and then it never responds. There's no timeout on that thing sometimes. I should have waited until these numbers came up. All right, so we got some response here. Now, Sonatech was doing his 5700s, and this 900 he replaced it with a 0 to get an improvement. Don't do that on the Polaris card. It hates that. I already made that mistake. All right, so let's go in here and see what the miner's doing. No other window. In other words, it's not booting. Okay. So worker options, maintenance mode, load with drivers. Apply. Power, reboot. Okay. And it decided to start talking. Decided to start talking right when I told it to reboot. We'll wait for the reboot. Oh, I rebooted since then. New session needed. Okay. Let's go to this Flightsheet. I'm going to turn off TeamRedMiner's watchdog. Apply, update. That's my normal state of being with TeamRedMiner. Yeah. Got to watch clock here. I got to go pick my dogs up. They're out there getting fluffed and buffed. Got to go rescue them from the dog cleaners. Take them out for ice cream. They're just like any other kid. We are not getting a good response here. All the fans are spun up. So is our communication problem something other than? Huh. Gotta check, see if I even had internet. We got internet? We got internet. All right. I use cellular internet for both live streaming and running my miners. I got a video on the Mophie 4500, which I'm about to upgrade to the Mophie 5500 because 5G UC is out with T-Mobile, and I'm getting 120 megabits per second on my new phone. I got one of these new Samsung Flip 3s, and it uses the new 5G UC, and so I am going to upgrade my internal internet to match what my cell phone will do now. 4G is dead to me, is what I'm saying. 4G is more than enough to mine on. Unless you're doing helium mining, 4G is fine. helium miner guys it uses a lot of bandwidth. Booted a minute ago. Now, if it doesn't come back, here's the thing I got to do, and it's a pain in the ass. But this is new mining. Every time I've had to do this, I went from tuning the ALF to tuning the ton with HiveOS, and I've had to do this every time I've changed coins that drastically treats the cards differently. Okay. So let's go to overview. Yeah, we're going to keep getting that problem. So we're going to go to tuning, right? Nope. Overclocking. Uh, This is what I got in there now. So I'm going to turn around and sweep. Confirm. And it didn't do it. I'm going to turn off auto select the algorithm or not HiveOS. Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to delete this. Delete this. This is a HiveOS interface issue. Reset all. Worker updated successfully. Overview. Nothing's in there now, right? Power. Shut down and boot in 30. Start from scratch. Okay. Now, what would I expect when I get the boot up here? I am going to have to deal with the fact that everything's at stock, and which, if it'll boot from this, I don't like seeing that. See, the problem I have in HiveOS is when the numbers get bogus, it pisses me off. Yeah. If I'm running an 8 load average on that damn thing, then they've got some bogus freaking coding in their damn server software. I got a server that runs 1 million people a month through it. I don't run a 0.3 load average on. Booting up 8 graphics card is not an 8 load average. There you go. And then what I've had to do in the past after I do that, let's go back in that shell, is a force upgrade of the software. Because there's some cache file somewhere storing crap and not asking the user interface for the information I provided. Something's not asking for information. This, then like I said, we're going to tell a story of the guy over at Tons. Like, the GUI interface is why everybody's dumber. They expect, but having built software, can tell you right now, the GUI interface that everybody wants takes 100 times the effort as building the software does. So this is why the Linux guys are always so frustrated and using the word just. Why don't you just go in there and do this? Because creating the button to click, to make something happen takes 100 times more effort when you're the guy programming. Who wants more work? It's not going to do anything different creating that GUI button. Literally, that GUI button is going to tell it to do the command that I'm telling you to do. Why don't you just type what I'm telling you to do? And what's worse is they don't even explain what it is they're telling them to do. They've gotten it so in their heads. It's a problem of intelligence. So I'm not belittling them. It's a problem with an intelligent human being. Your mind's already done the work. There's no reason for your hands to do it. And until you learn to be a better person to make your hands do the work your brain has done, you're going to be a IT asshole. No one's going to give a shit about what you think, and your career is limited. So I can't even shell into this thing right now. I think we've done something more than what we think we've done. GPU driver. No temps again. Okay. Yeah, but that's not what I was asking you to do. I was asking you to give me shell access. Well, dumb nuts. You just kind of ignored that request. When I can't remember what it was. Matter of fact, it might be in that troubleshooting film. I had to go in there and force upgrade. After playing with voltages on the cards, I would have to go in there and force upgrade HiveOS and wait, and then come back, reset these numbers like I just did. And there was a combination that I put together, and I can't even remember off the top of my head. I'd have to go look at my own damn film to tell you what the hell the combination was to solve this issue. Okay? It's in the communication between the website that we're looking at now, talking remotely to my card, to my motherboard, my rig, and they're not talking nicely. Okay, so I've got a little bit of work to do. Check out the other video. I will try to link it in the I button above. And make sure you like and subscribe. Yep, bricked my rig. You don't see me panicking. I know where the communication problem here is, but that's not this video. That's the other video where we worked on that. So that's with remote talking through a GUI to an interface that for a card that's only 5 feet away, right? I created the problem that I'm complaining about. I could just go plug a keyboard in and hook a monitor up. But I actually like the GUI interface because then I can do lots of stuff from my one desk. So complain about it if you will, but the GUI interface has got its benefits, but it's also got its faults. This being one of the faults. See, it won't even let me. I'm having a communication issue over there. So we're going to have to figure that out before we figure out the card issue, and that's not what we're going to work on this video. So I appreciate it. Thank you.